Okay,
Right.
this Saturday, October 15th, we've got a huge fight in the Oktagon welterweight division coming to you from Frankfurt, Germany. Two guys, both with a keen eye on getting a rematch with the champ David Kozma. Happy to be joined by Bojan Velickovic, who is fighting Leandro Silva this Saturday night at Oktagon 36. Bojan, how you doing, man?
Very good. Very
Yeah.
good.
You
Very
look ready.
excited about Sunday.
You look ready, man.
Yeah, I would like to think so. Thank you.
Just a few short days out now, of course. How you feeling coming into this one?
I feel good. I feel good. Definitely had a great camp behind me. Started it like early, about 2 months ago. I think in August. And actually, my first 2 weeks of camps, I was helping Kamzat Chimaev in Stockholm, Sweden, to prepare for his fight with Nate Diaz, and I trained with him and his team. So my first 2 weeks was his last like 2 or 3 weeks of camp, so it was very intense. And then after that, I went back to Colorado and continued my camp. And yeah, it went great. I changed a few things. Um, like then in my last camp, I added a lot more cardio, a lot more running. I think I'm definitely in the best shape conditioning wise than in any of my last previous fights. So I'm very excited to go out and test, see how that looks like.
You mentioned obviously Chimaev there. Training with that guy has got to be a nightmare at the best of time. But when you're coming in straight, the first couple of weeks of camp, just getting into shape, and this dude's like almost fight ready. That's got to be just insane, right? What's that like?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's very intense. I really liked it. I mean, I really appreciated the opportunity they gave me to go and train with him and just get that kind of experience. Yeah, his pace was insane. I mean, you saw what he did to Kelvin in 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Just very intense, like very aggressive. And to be able to hang around with him a couple of rounds was a huge experience.
A couple rounds is a lot more than most people can say they've been with Hamzat. So
Yeah, exactly.
yeah. Obviously you mentioned there being in Denver as well. You've been there a while, of course. How is everything going down there? And have you done anything different coming into this one than maybe normal, or has it all been pretty standard?
No, pretty usual. Just as I said, I added in my last fight. I fought Mate Kertes, and he definitely pushed me and got me really tired in the third round, and that's where he like made a big difference and won the last round. So I just after that experience, I was like, I never want to feel this tired again in a fight. So I added a lot more cardio, a lot more running. There's a couple of trails that I run in the mountains in Colorado, like a little bit outside of Denver in mountain areas. So I added that, and I felt great. The last couple of sparring sessions, I felt really good and confident in my cardio. So that's the main difference that I did.
You obviously mentioned Colorado there. I'm interested to know a little bit about your background. So when did you move over there from Serbia?
So I moved from Serbia to United States in 2013, and my first 3 years I lived in Florida, and I was training in American Top Team.
Yeah.
And then in 2015, I went to fight in Colorado, and I met coaches and a couple of fighters from Elevation Fight Team. And then after that fight, they invited me to come and train and help two of their fighters prepare for the fight there. At the time, Neil Magny and Brandon Thatch. were getting ready for fights in UFC, and they invited me as a sparring partner. And then it happened that my manager found me a fight around the same time. So I did my whole camp there, helping them to prepare for the fights, and then that was part of my camp. And my fight was 1 week after their fight, so I took with me coaches from Elevation Fight Team, and I absolutely loved it. And I decided to move there after that. So I moved to Colorado in September of 2015, I think. So 7 years ago.
Yeah, it's been a while. Do you get back to Serbia much, or?
I do every time. Well, especially now since I'm with Oktagon. Every time I come to Europe to fight, I usually go and spend a couple days in Serbia, see my family. I was recently in Serbia due to some tragic events in my family. But yeah, I go and see like at least once or twice a year.
Right. So let's talk about the fight. Leandro Silva, Apollo, is the opponent this time out. He's a guy that's been around for a while, UFC vet like yourself, of course. So what are your thoughts on him as the opponent this time out?
Well, as you said, he's been around for a long time. In UFC, he actually fought one of my teammates, Drew Dober, and that fight went to no contest, but due to some weird circumstances. But he's very, very experienced, guy, very tough guy. He in the last couple of fights that I watched, when he fought David Kozma, he was or David Kozma. He showed he's very durable, that he can last 5 rounds with a guy who definitely likes to push pace. He looked good in that fight. He didn't win, but I think he had some good moments. He showed that his striking is very crisp. And especially I saw that he fought a couple of boxing fights after that. So I would assume that he's very confident on his in his stand-up. And yeah, I know that he also likes to play around a little bit, kind of put his hands down and make fun of or like tease his opponents. And I'm just excited to go out there and like test my skills against a guy like that.
Yeah. So stylistically, if you think about this fight in your head, how do you see the two of you matching up with each other?
I mean, I don't know. We'll find out on Saturday. Like I can only say that I think I'm better. I think I can beat him standing. He doesn't he definitely seems like he has a good base. He's a shorter fighter, very like strong and thick legs. And I'm assuming that it's probably going to be hard to take him down if I try, but I will probably try just because I like to go everywhere. I like to feel the fight. I like to feel my opponent. Even when I was fighting some of, even in UFC and in PFL, when I was fighting some of the stylistically better wrestlers and better like ground opponents than me, I still tried to take him down just to see and feel how their grappling and their wrestling feels. So yeah, I'm excited to go out there, try to strike with him, try to take him down, try to push my fight, my tempo, my style of fighting, and we'll see how that goes.
You know, you are number 1 in the Oktagon rankings at welterweight at the minute. A win here will be 2 in a row since fighting David Kozma. So with a win, are you firmly looking at that? Is that in your mind? Another fight with Kozma?
I would like to fight him for sure, but I'm not sure that that's going to happen right away because he's fighting in December with Kai Brito. And then as I already talked and discussed the possible fight with him. They said that after the fight in December, he probably is not gonna fight until like April or May next year. And I don't think I'm gonna like sit that long. I actually what I suggested when I was talking with Oktagon is that if I thank God stay healthy after this fight and injury free, I would like to fight again maybe in December already. So yeah, we'll see. Maybe I get another fight before possible rematch. Of course, focusing on this fight and making sure I win this fight, and then we can talk options after that. But yeah, to answer your question, I would like to fight David Kozma again with a full camp, because last fight I accepted a fight on a 10-day notice. And I just think, yeah, unfortunately, I was not ready enough to give him like a real fight.
Yeah. For anyone who maybe watches this who doesn't know about Oktagon, they're a really pretty big organization in Europe at the minute and growing rapidly. So just talk to me a little bit about your experience fighting for them in this last year and a half now.
Oh man, I only have good words to say about them. As you mentioned, a very big organization in Europe, growing very fast. Since I started fighting for them, well, I started fighting for them when they were in pandemic, so I didn't really get to experience their fans and their crowd right away. But I did see that organization itself, they're very professional and very experienced. Pretty much, I didn't see any difference organization-wise compared to UFC or PFL. Like very organized, everything very on point, production amazing. Their like lights and sound systems are off the charts. And then when I did fought last year in Bratislava, first time in front of their fans, it was absolutely crazy. It was sold out arena in Bratislava. Well, actually, it was sold out arena, but it was only 70% of the capacity because of like COVID protocol. But still, it was very great atmosphere in the arena. Fans are very loud, very passionate. Before the fight and after the fight, fans coming to ask for a picture or a selfie. As I said, they're crazy and passionate and all of that, but when they come to ask, they're very polite, and they're like not too crazy to a point that I have to hide to take the back exit or anything like that. Like I walked out literally on through a front door after the fight was finished, and I had like a lot of people come to greet me or just say nice words about my fight and my performance. But yeah, everybody's like, it was quite a pleasant experience after the first one, and then every fights after that, it was like bigger and better. And as I find out now, the arena that we're fighting on Saturday is also sold out, and it fits, I think, 10 or 12,000 people. So yeah, I'm very excited to experience that as well.
Yeah, you've won 5 of your last 6 fights since leaving the PFL. It's an impressive run, of course. So what do you put that down to? What changed do you feel since those runs in the UFC and PFL? Is it, do you think it's a mindset thing, or because you're on the run of your career at this point?
Yeah. I just felt really good I had to spend after my last fight in PFL, obviously didn't go my way. One of my coaches pulled me on the side and told me like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "How do you mean?" And he's like, "What are you like? what the fuck are you doing? Like, we all know that you're one of the most talented guys in the gym, and you're going out there and like losing to some like mediocre guys. Like what? Like, why are you? And I was like, I don't know. I'm trying to figure that out myself. And he's like, why don't you take a couple months off from like training and just see how you're gonna feel, like if you want to keep doing this or no. And so I stopped training MMA and I just did jujitsu for like 6 months. I trained only jujitsu in a gi, and I did a couple tournaments. But during these 5 or 6 months, I really realized that I love these sports and that I enjoy competing. And then I got back into it, and I won, as you said, like 4 or 5. I won 5 out of my 6 fights. So I think it just, as you said, it's just a mindset. I approach it from totally different perspective, and I'm just grateful to be able to compete, and that I really think that I'm privileged to be able to do this for a living. Obviously, all people are around me support me in whatever I decide. Meanwhile, during that period of time, I also met my fiance, and just having a healthy relationship, and kind of realizing that like a real relationship is pretty much a relationship with a person is the same as relationship as with the sport or with your job. You just have to work on it. You just have to put some time in it. You just have to appreciate it, and then kind of the reward comes back itself. So yeah, I just like learned that through life experiences, through some losses, and I'm just happy to be able to do it at this point.
It's a great answer. Just as we get towards the end here, we've got a big UFC card in a couple of weeks. I just want to grab a couple of predictions. Charles Oliveira, Islam Makhachev. How do you see that one going?
It's funny that you asked that. I was just at the lunch with my coaches, and they asked me the same questions. And I don't like to give predictions, but I did say that I would like to see Charles win, just because he's like more of a well-rounded fighter. Like he can knock people out, he can submit people. He's just, I don't know, like for me, like he's one of somebody that I look up to. But again, Islam has a very, like he's only good at one thing, but he's very good at that one thing.
Yeah.
Just I mentioned that I used to train with Dan Hooker. And I know like Dan is like 20 or 30 pounds lighter than me. And I had a hard time with him on the ground. And Islam just took him down and submitted him like a kid. And so that speaks a lot about his strength and his skill in grappling. Oliveira is like very legit and very good grappler, but like if there's anything to happen, I think Islam can only win on the ground, whereas Charles can win like in multiple scenarios. And he's a lot more exciting to watch because you don't know what's going to happen. With Islam, you know that he's going to take guys down and just, savage them on the ground. So I would like to see more of an exciting fight where Charles is like dictating the tempo and where the fight goes.
Another one real quick. You might be a little bit biased on this one, but I'm going to ask it anyway. TJ Dillashaw and Aljamain Sterling. Obviously, TJ is obviously an elevation guy in the past.
He used to be.
Yeah.
He's not anymore, and he fought Corey Sanhagen. Corey was my roommate for 5 years. So I don't like how that fight went. I honestly thought that Corey won that fight, but I would like to see him win in this one because I'm not a big fan of Sterling, to be honest. Just with his like with what happened in with Jan in the first fight, and he did win the second fight, but yeah, I'm just not too big of a fan. So I'll say TJ.
Last one, Piotr Jan, Sean O'Malley.
Oh man, I will say Jan.
Yeah. Okay. Just finally, fans tuning into the pay-per-view Saturday night. When yourself and Leandro Silva make that walk to the cage, what can they expect to see?
They can expect to see a really good and exciting fight. As I said, I think we when our styles match, I think we can give fan like what that's what I said. Like I don't know, like I never liked to predict my fights. I know how much work I put, and of course I'm coming to win. But in the sport of fighting, we know that like anything's possible. So I only know that I don't know who's gonna win, but I know that we're gonna like give the fans like a really good and exciting fight to watch.
Perfect. I think the fans are very excited for that too. This Saturday, October 15th, Oktagon 36 in Frankfurt, Germany. Check out the pay-per-view octagon.tv. Bojan Velickovic, thanks for the time, man. Best of luck on Saturday.
Thank you, man. Thank you. I appreciate time.
Thank you.